Okay, welcome back to another solo episode of the Uneducated PT podcast with me, your host, Carl O'Rourke. If you've been enjoying the episode so far, if you've been enjoying the guests that we've had on, and to be honest, I think we've had some great guests on of late. Sophia was really good, Connor Harris was really good. I really enjoyed that episode with the relationship coach, Laura. So I'm trying to get a wide range of guests on, diving into different topics and just being curious about different people and different people's expertise and learning as much as I can from other people. So if you have been enjoying them, make sure you're sharing it on your social media. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. And if you're on Spotify, make sure you are also following along so you'll get the latest episodes. We're trying to be consistent with the episodes and bringing out one or two every week, and I'll also throw in a solo episode every now and again because it's just kind of a good way for me to kind of, I don't know, explore different ideas that I'm kind of learning about or trying to understand a little bit better. And obviously the most interested topic I am involved in right now is obviously social health and social connection and relationships and understanding why they are so important to everyday life and how we consistently forget that, when all is said and done, that is going to be the most important thing at the end of your day is the relationships that you either invested in or didn't invest in. And while I think it's great to have ambition, while I think it's great for you to chase after your goals, to pursue your goals, to get rich, to get in shape, to build a business, whatever that goal is for you, doing so on your own or neglecting the relationships around you to achieve them things, I think that's the biggest failure in life, because that's it. I think it's the saying where it's the greatest failure isn't to fail. The greatest failure is to achieve everything you want and still to feel unhappy because you've missed the forest for the trees, essentially, in terms of what's important at the end of the day. Pursuing goals is great, but who is with you while you're doing them things. And then I also love that meme that I always share, and it's like, what's more important, the journey or the destination? And it's neither. It's the company. It's the company that you spend time in. I think that's just fantastic. So in respect to that, I'm going to talk a little bit today about pursuing weight loss and pursuing goals in general, and how a lot of the time when we are pursuing them things, like whatever that goal is, whether it is to lose weight or build a business or get stronger or earn more money or speak confidently on stage, beneath the surface of all them pursuits, I think we are driven by this deeper universal human need, which is to feel connected and to feel like we belong. And you can take that with any goal. I think, if you look at, all right, obviously I can use weight loss because that's something that I have a lot of knowledge in. So it's like, I want to lose weight and look better, or I want to get fitter and I want to get stronger. They are great goals, all right? They're fantastic goals to have. To lose weight, to look better, to get fitter, to get stronger. They can all really, really improve the quality of your life. But there's a hidden desire behind that, right? And anytime that someone comes to me and asks, that they want to lose weight, they want to lose 10 kilos, I'm always very inclined to ask why. Why do you want to lose 10 kilos? Well, what's this going to do for your life? Why are you pursuing this? What are you willing to give up for this? What are the sacrifices you're willing to make, and why are you willing to make them? What's important at the end of this goal that you're trying to achieve? Because you are going to have to make sacrifices if you want to lose weight. You are going to have to change up your lifestyle, and it is not easy. Weight loss is a very difficult goal to pursue. That's why most people end up putting the weight back on after they lose it. It's very, very normal. So we have to understand what them hidden desires are, and when people say that they want to lose weight, it's rarely about the scales. They think about the compliments that they're going to get if they lose weight. They think about the confidence they will have if they walk into a room. They think about how easy it is to join social activities now because they don't feel embarrassed or judged. They even think about dating and the confidence that can come from, being a couple of kilos lighter, and that, well, now that I have the confidence to go and date, I can finally meet someone. So they want to feel accepted and admired and attractive to others, and that all comes from connection. Like the healthier and the fitter they feel, the more likely they are to engage socially without shame or self-consciousness. They have that fit body, and that fit body is, a representation or a bridge to create more meaningful relationships and social confidence. So, like, as much as we talk about it, it's about losing weight and it's about feeling healthier. It's also about having a life where, you can really enjoy other people's company without feeling like you're in your head, and hopefully that can improve the quality of them relationships or create new relationships. It might be that you want to improve the relationships around you, or it might mean that you want to make new connections with new people, that you're walking into spaces that you wouldn't have walked into before because you feel confident to do so. And that's not to say that you shouldn't, that doesn't mean to say that if you're overweight, you shouldn't, you don't belong in certain spaces. You do, but it's very difficult for people to not be in their head and to be like, oh, if you don't feel confident, in your body, then it's very difficult for you to sit into a new room of people and just be yourself and be confident in who you are. It's a difficult thing. So that it's ourselves. We get in our own head. We get in our own way from creating them connections. And maybe it didn't have anything to do with the weight that you had on you or didn't have on you, but in your head it did. So that makes it more difficult. So, we start exercising and eating better, and, we feel energy, we feel confident, we feel in a better mood. So we're more outgoing, so we might join a group class where you'll meet people. We might post our progress online. We might receive compliments that gives us feedback, whether that's a negative or a positive thing, that, we're complimenting people for losing weight or not. It is a reality of life. We go on dates. We accept social invitations that we would have avoided before because we felt like we weren't worthy of going to them things, or we just felt like we were going to be judged, so we would rather avoid going to them things. Like I know so many people who have told me over the years that I didn't go out on the weekend because I didn't feel happy in myself, and I would just ruin the night out for myself, so I'd rather just avoid it. So that's what weight loss can do. Weight loss can be that kind of connector where it's like, I feel like I can walk into spaces and not be in my head, and that's going to create more opportunities and shared experiences. So think about it. You lose 15 pounds. You feel great. You start hiking with your friends. You say yes to beach trips. You start enjoying connections without shame, which is really, really important. But then, again, it can obviously go the other side of that as well. So, I like to think about it as that's your healthy pursuit, right? You lose weight so you can enjoy experiences with your friends and feel more connected to them. That's great. You lose weight so you can go on a date and meet someone and fall in love and feel connected to someone. That's great. But then, when you push weight loss too much, let's say it's like a moderate pursuit where, you want to be a little bit more disciplined, a little bit more structured, meals become a little bit more planned. You're starting to track your calories. Workouts are a little bit more rigid. Now, you still might enjoy social benefits. Like, you might not say no to everything. You might have a pizza and a drink, maybe every now and again. So you're still connected, but you're starting to kind of trade spontaneity for progress. So, like, you might be bringing your Tupperware to a party where you're still eating your chicken, broccoli and rice. Now, you're still attending the party, that's great, but it feels a little bit different. It feels a little bit separate from the group vibe. You're not like just enjoying a few drinks and having freedom of food, and having the cake and having a pizza and not really thinking about it, not really thinking about your calories. You're just enjoying being in the moment. So like that's a case where it's like, well, yeah, that's cool. Like you have goals that you want to achieve, you're taking them more serious. That's absolutely fine. You have every right to do that. But there will be a little bit of a different and separate kind of feeling to them social occasions that you're going through. And then it can go into this like extreme pursuit where like you're completely disconnected. And that could be because like I don't know, you're prepping for a photo shoot, or you're doing a bodybuilder competition, or you just are trying to get really really lean. Maybe like you've lost a lot of weight and you don't know where the happy medium is, where the middle spot is, and you're thinking to yourself, well, I've lost 10 kilos and I feel great. So if I lose another 10 kilos, I'll feel even better, which isn't the case, because, more of a good thing isn't always a good thing. You have this law of diminishing returns where you start to get less and less from the thing that once, gave you a positive feedback. So, in that pursuit of leanness and, perfection of, having, dick skin abs where like everyone can see how lean you are, you start to decline social occasions and social invitations. You say no to the Saturday night drinks and a pizza with your friends. You say no to a coffee and a croissant with friends. You're constantly in the gym. Food starts to become a source of stress rather than joy. You're stressed out because, oh, I can't eat this and I can't eat this because this doesn't fit my macros and this doesn't fit my calories. So ironically, the more you succeed physically, if you can even say that, because I don't think that losing more and more body fat is succeeding physically. But you feel, let's say you are achieving your physique that you want in terms of you're dropping more and more body fat, but you feel more and more isolated socially. Like you haven't been able to go out with your friends. You haven't been able to, you're in bed early at night, every night. You're in a very, very strict routine because, the leaner you want to get, the more you have to give up. So what started out as a goal to feel more connected to people, it now flips into disconnection because you've become obsessed and like hyper obsessed and focused on just getting as lean as possible. You are avoiding birthdays, skipping holidays, won't eat out, and you feel alone in your pursuit. And even though you might look ideal externally, like you look like, you're in great shape, you look like you think you wanted to, you're absolutely miserable. And that's the thing about both extremes, whether you're getting really, really lean or you're really, really overweight, both will impact your social connection and both will impact the quality of your life. So it's about finding that middle spot and not like losing the forest for the trees. Because you lost weight because you wanted to feel more connected to people and you achieved that, and then you wanted to lose more weight, and then you felt disconnected to people because you had to sacrifice everything you wanted in order to achieve that ideal physique. And we have to remember the bigger picture. The bigger picture is health. The bigger picture is joy. The bigger picture is shared meals with friends and family and quality relationships. Like that is literally the key to life. And I've spoke about this multiple times with multiple different studies on how, like, when all is said and done, what you will remember and what will determine whether you had a good life or not is the quality of the relationships around you. That is most important. So we need to find this balance of you being able to pursue weight loss because it makes you feel better and it makes you have more energy and in a better mood, but not getting so hyper focused on it that you forget that health is more than just your calories and your macros and your training. It's also your relationships and the quality of them relationships. And this goes for any goal as well, right? You want to make six figures or you want financial freedom. So you start saving and you start focusing on status and security and all this stuff. And you do that because it helps you earning that money gives you the ability to care for the loved ones, right? It gives you the ability to look after your circle. It gives you the ability to look after your family. It gains respect from, your peers. This is someone who can build a business and look after people and look after his staff, and you can use money as a tool for experiences like traveling with friends and taking family out for dinner and giving back to your community, and involving yourself in charities and throwing parties and buying gifts. Like, that's great. Like, money is great for doing all them things, and that strengthens bonds and gives a sense of worth to you, and that can also help with connection. But then, right, you start to try and make more and more money, and more money than you actually need, and it's like now you're just ignoring your partner and not seeing your kids because you're spending extra hours in the office, and you're starting to sacrifice your weekends that you usually spent with friends because you have a big meeting coming up and stuff like that, and then you miss your fucking kid's birthday party and all these kind of things. Like, that's when the goal goes to an extreme, and again, you've missed the forest for the trees. You wanted to make more money so you could have financial freedom, so you could help out the people around you, so you could help out your relationships, so you could look after people, but now you're trying to make so much money that you have no time to spend with them people, and obviously there's a balance to that, right? Because there's plenty of people who make loads of money and barely work 4 hours a day and spend loads of time with their friends and their family, and them people probably have it worked out, and that's a great thing. But there's also a lot of people who got rich at the expense of everything else, and then you don't want to be the rich person in the empty mansion. Essentially, that is, I think, the biggest failure in life. So I think you can take this with any sort of goal, whether you're speaking on stage, whether you're building a business, whether you just want to make more money. It all comes back to connection. At a biological level, we're all wired for social survival. We know that being in a tribe and being in a community, that's what helps us to survive. That's what helps us to thrive. And that wiring hasn't gone away, even though it isn't really designed in this modern society. So I think we have to be more proactive in terms of understanding how important relationships are, and how any goal that we want to achieve, we do so in the pursuit of improving them relationships and improving them connections. That's my thoughts on it anyway. You might disagree. I don't think you do. I think deep down that being out with your friends is great, and feeling connected to your family is great, and having someone who loves you and wants to be with you is great. And although, like, I'm a big fan of things like solo traveling and stuff like that, and figuring out who you are, there's nothing better than sitting down and chatting about life experience with people that you spent that life with. I think that's great. Alright, so there are just my thoughts. Don't lose the forest for the trees. Understand that weight loss can be a great tool to improve the quality of your life and improve the relationships in your life, but like anything, more is not always better, and there is the law of diminishing returns. And if you try to lose weight more and more, and every extra kilo you lose, you have to sacrifice a lot more to lose that kilo, and you have to ask yourself, is it worth it to lose that extra kilo? Is it worth it to be an extra 2 kilos lighter, but having to sacrifice dinner with my friends and my family, or tracking my calories every day, or bringing Tupperware to chicken and broccoli to a wedding? For me, the answer is no. But I'll let you make that decision for yourself. Folks, I've been Done Educated PT, Carl O'Rourke. Thank you as ever for listening. Time is the most valuable asset that we have, so I appreciate that you've spent your time with me today.